unique issues are the standard issues. That's a lot harder for underrepresented minorities and women to get necessarily a fair shot during the review process of grants. It's just somehow difficult because, and it's often because the panels, there are very few people, underrepresented minorities and women on these panels. Well, there's more women now than it used to be, but that's probably the major disadvantage is that we are underrepresented across the board in all things. But if you can become successful, you can overcome that hurdle, then I think everything is pretty even after that. But it's the initial entry and the initial ability to obtain funding. That's really the rate limiting step for women and underrepresented minorities, in my opinion. But there's so few underrepresented minorities that have these grants that, you know, it's almost unfair how little is known about these programs. And I remember I went on my first panel workshop, and the person who was introducing the program said that there are only 1 in 10 women-owned companies that get these SBIR grants. One out of 10, and there's only 10% that actually even apply for these grants. So there are only 10% women-owned companies apply for them. And then when she mentioned African Americans, there's only 1% that apply for these grants, and they didn't know the number of how many percent are successful. They didn't even know that number was so low. But fortunately, I'm one of those numbers that they didn't know, right? Because I had one at the time. But it's very rare to find these minority-owned companies successful in getting these SBIR grants. So that's a challenge. But you first have to at least know that they exist before you can apply, and then figure out what you have to do to actually get them. Underrepresented minorities in academic medicine and science in the first place. We just have to increase those numbers. And I don't know how to do that, but those numbers have to increase in order to make any kind of difference.